So welcome everyone to the Municipality of Thames Centre Special Council meeting. The day is Thursday, in case anybody's losing track out there in COVID land, May 6, 2021, and it's 10 a.m. I think we could just make this short and just say Thames Centre where the sun always shines and just leave it at that and I'll have a day. But I think we better go through the exercise. We've got Steve and Nancy here and they're raring to go. So any additions to the agenda?
There's no additions.
Thank you. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Anybody been paid off to say the sun always shines in Thames Centre? No? Okay. So visioning session, our municipal slogan, and again, everybody welcome. And I'd like to introduce Nancy Orr and Steve Ray, and maybe you could just talk a little bit about what we're up to now.
Thank you, Allison. Well, good morning, Thames Centre. My name is Nancy Orr, as Allison suggested, and I'm a facilitator of action with Nancy Orr and Associates. And I am absolutely excited and delighted to have joined you on this strategic journey that you've been taking over the last several months. And congratulations on your strategic plan. Especially today, our slogan visioning session, where I've got my colleague, the marketing branding guru, Steve Ray, here with me. And I'm going to allow him to introduce himself before we move on to, I'll just quickly go through the agenda and the goal for today, and then Steve will take over. But Steve, did you want to just introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. Great to see on a beautiful morning where the sun always shines in Stratford too, apparently. So my background started in radio, ended up owning the 2 radio stations in Stratford, which we sold about 10 years ago. But prior to that, I had joined a firm of marketing and advertising experts called the Wizard of Ads Group. And I've been doing that for almost 20 years. So I started in that before I left the radio business. And our job is collectively, we have about 60 partners around the world, including Australia and Great Britain and Central America and all through North America. And our job is to work together to make small and medium-sized businesses and operations grow. So we are paid on our percentage of growth for any of our clients. So we have a lot of skin in the game. It's not a traditional advertising agency or whatever, but we have a lot of fun as well. And so that's kind of my background. Longtime Stratford resident, about 40 years. So certainly know your area. We drive through there a lot. So with that, I'll turn it back to Nancy.
Thanks, Steve. I'm just going to share my screen for a moment here. Make sure I pick the right one, or you're going to be looking at a picture of my children as babies. All right. Can everybody see?
Yep.
My screen? So we're all here for our slogan visioning session. And today's agenda is a little more free-flowing, perhaps, than a standard municipal council meeting. What I'd really love if right now all of you could just imagine driving down your favorite road in Thames Centre, windows down, sun out, and whatever that song is that you've got cranked on your radio that's really got you bopping, foot tapping, I want that in your mind. I want everybody to just think about that song and how that feels. No weight on your shoulders. So I want you to keep that feeling and your foot tapping throughout today's meeting. So then we'll go back to the standard agenda format of we did our welcome and introductions. I'm going to talk about the goal for today. Then I'm going to hand it over to Steve, who's going to lead us through a creative conversation to help us come up with some words. First of all, why we're here, and then some words that's going to help us figure out how we can capture a slogan for Thames Centre. So our goal for today is to have a creative conversation to collect the ingredients needed to build a slogan that inspires, intrigues, and invites while highlighting Thames Centre's unique and compelling value. So the goal of today is, again, for Steve and I to collect all the ingredients we're going to need and all of your enthusiasm for your municipality to then go back and build a slogan that we can present back to you that you're going to get, I'm sure, really excited about. So with today's technology, we don't have a chat function. So if you have a question at any point, please jump around, wave your arms, holler at us, and Steve and I will do our best to keep our eye out for that. I'm going to be typing like a madman, trying to capture all of your thoughts while Steve leads us through. So at this point, I am going to stop sharing my screen and hand it back to Steve.
Thanks, Nancy. Good morning. We got another edition here. Good morning. Good to see you. I'm just jealous of the hair.
Okay, I'm muting myself.
All right. So thanks for being here, guys. So my question is, and this is going to be tough because, as you know, Zoom cuts out and only defaults to one speaker. So maybe if you can raise your hand, I can see everybody on the screen except for those that are just doing it by phone with their video off. But there's also a raise hand function, which you can click at the bottom, and either that or do it physically. And maybe we can kind of keep a little bit of semblance of order with this. So why do you want a slogan? Who's going to start?
Well, I think we've done enough work in our strategic vision that, a slogan, obviously, that is outdated like ours and used repetitively throughout the country. It's time to find our own fresh way of stating things. So I think that's one reason. But if anybody else has another reason, go ahead.
Okay. Nobody jumping in?
No, Tom does, actually.
Okay, Tom, go ahead.
I think it's kind of funny. We live in a day where cliches are getting used and worn out, but they do have their own value. And I think the slogan, it can be seen as cliche, but I think can also be kind of a rallying cry. Like I remember when I was in high school at Lord Dorchester, we had a principal come in and turn things around, and he really put the whole Beavers mascot at the forefront of things, but not just the animal, creating a sense of identity and a culture around that. And it was made you feel like you're part of a team. And I think that's something that it's good for council unity. It's good for staff unity to have just that, okay, yeah, we were having a hard day, but this is what it's all about, and be able to touch that representation of culture and a mutual goal, and ideally be able for the township residents to be able to see that and feel like they're part of that larger goal and initiative.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Let me ask, what do you have you ever been to anywhere else where you've seen a slogan like this that has moved you to action or to feeling or whatever in a township? Allison.
Well, I could give you an example of a slogan I would never use, and that is is that I think it's St. Mary's, always in season. Anybody, where is it? St. Mary's. It's somebody that's always in season, which if you've ever had anything to do with horses means that they're ready to be bred.
Okay. How about the town of Petrolia? You'll be surprised. I'm a little concerned about that. What are they surprised with?
I kind of always liked Mount Forest, which was high, happy, and healthy, I think, at one point. But with amongst legalization, it's probably more fitting, and they decided to get rid of it, I heard. But
all right. So where are you going to use it? Is it signage throughout the community? Is it on your letterhead? What is the greater use of this slogan?
I think if I can jump in, I think it is the intent to use it everywhere, Steve. It's what we want to have as our draw. It'll be on our taglines of our email. It will be on our letterhead. We're looking at a banner program throughout the community that we would like to have it on that as well. And we have new gateway signage that's being installed, and I'm sure there's a methodology that we can get it put on there as well. So we just want it to be everywhere to say this is what we are, and this is what we aspire to be.
And I think we're getting tattoos as well, right?
Yes.
I'm not signing up for that. Okay. All right, so you're going to use it everywhere. I like that. And who is it for? Now, it was mentioned, Tom, that that you said it would be for staff and as a rallying cry, community. But who is it specifically for? Can that be answered?
I think a little bit to jumpstart the thoughts. I think it's for everybody. It's for not only the residents that are here. I think it's for people that are coming through. It's to promote tourism. It's to entice people to come here and live here, work here. I think it's as broad as it can be.
Okay, so to attract business, to attract industry, to attract new residents, to attract tourism, that's a pretty broad scope. Tom, you got your hand up there?
I just jumping on the previous discussion, like I know Norfolk County is going through a similar exercise, although I think they're taking a little bit longer in the process. But my wife, as a tourism operator, is participating in that, and they're shifting from Ontario's Garden to something that they're hoping is a lot more tourism driven. So again, they've focused on one sector and are kind of jumping to another sector, which I don't necessarily think is as advantageous, because again, it's not for the people who visit here. We hope that they visit here, but it's also for the people who are here all the time. And if they can embody that theme, then yeah, they're going to be even better stewards for visitors. But I agree, we want it to be unified.
All right, so the broader you make it, the more difficult it is to be specific, right? So I'm glad you brought that up, Tom. Do you see it as, do the rest of you see it as for the stewards of the community to help unify the thoughts about your community and promotion and tourism and attracting new residents and business and all of that? Who do you see it heading towards? Who is it aimed at?
Well, I think, if you think in the terms of a sports team brands itself, and it allows people to be part of the sports team by, understanding that brand and, example for, clothing sales and that sort of stuff. I just think it just helps unify everyone. And I think Tom was right. It's for staff, it's for the people, it's for the residents. And it's nice to see a nice sign when you drive through, but really it stays with you every day. It would be my feeling.
Okay. Kelly?
I would just say too, coming from communities that have amalgamated, creating that unified front, especially when we have two fairly distinct villages in our municipality, bringing them all together on a unified front where we're one big community versus the two separate communities. That's definitely where I see the slogan coming specifically for our residents.
All right. Now, I'm not familiar with what that meant. So could you clarify that a little bit?
In Thames Center, we have kind of Dorchester and Thorndale, kind of in the north and south end, and both of them being amalgamated to create Thames Center. I think coming up with a slogan for the community that unifies us as one community versus, the old West Missouri or the old North Dorchester, when we can come together as one community.
That makes more sense. Thank you. I know when you guys live there, and you're in that. So sometimes I'm going to ask stupid questions like that. But anyhow, that makes a lot more sense. All right. So any other comments about who we're aiming this at, target audience, or anything else? Anybody else wants to say anything here?
Just a quick comment, because I think like the whole name Thames Center indicates what the point that Kelly was trying to make, right? Like, I think that it's a very thoughtful name when you actually think about like the two former townships and how that does represent both of them very well. But I don't think that there's necessarily a connect with that name, which is a name that came out of a political process versus like the I don't know, the lived experience of most residents. And that's where I think that there may be an opportunity to just do a little bit of a bolt on underneath and unpack that a little bit.
Okay, that's great. Anyone else have anything else that they'd like to add? All right, this is good. All right, let's move on then. I've asked for your elevator pitch. All right, so I'm probably going to pick a few of you. We're not going to go through everybody's elevator pitch, but an elevator pitch is about a 30-second long description of your community and what you're thinking in terms of sloganing or positioning or any of those kinds of things. So looking for something that kind of distills it down into a bit of a nutshell. All right. When you're going from the first floor to the sixth floor in an elevator with somebody, you can tell them what it is that you're about. Who wants to start with one? Who would give me an elevator pitch to start us off?
Yeah, I'm gonna start so you don't ask me later.
You can be UD.
I think I'm going to touch on a couple of things that I've heard over the last little while. We're a community that's very much growing, and we're growing from a standpoint of residences. We've maxed out our industrial area. From a business growth perspective, we need some land to continue to develop in that regard. But residentially, we've got 7 developing subdivisions that are on the go. And the primary thing and the concern that comes with the growth with this is what agricultural land that you displace in doing this and growing. One of the spouses of one of the directors in here had forwarded a slogan that was I thought was a great idea, which was growing together. And it not only stops or references the growth that we have as a community residentially and the people that are flocking here to build and move, but it also references our agricultural aspect that is definitely a key factor in the community. So I think there's a great opportunity from a standpoint that we've got a great community that you can get around easily in. It's on the east side of London, so there are amenities if necessary close by. We've got an agricultural component, and I'm well aware I'm over 30 seconds, and and it's a great place to step away and live
right now.
That's right. I worked downtown Toronto for a little while, so I'm used to going up.
All right, excellent. Thank you. All right,
Steve,
who else
can I
wants
just
to-
say that maybe think about what is it you're trying to tell those people that either live in Toronto or you have relatives that live out west, and you're saying you should really come to Thames Center, and here's why. You've got this short blurb on what it would that would excite somebody to come visit you, to see the area or to move there. What would inspire somebody? What would your pitch be in that kind of sense?
I guess if I'm going to finish up, and I'm hoping to right here, is I grew up in a small town, and coming here, I felt like I came home, and I have the small town amenities. I have all the people that know each other. There's a closeness here, but you've got proximity to things that you want to do on a larger scale. I was an hour away from the city when I grew up, from any city. You're 5 minutes away here if you want to do that, but you get to escape to the countryside. You get to escape to the small town and have that relationship with that community.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike. That's great.
So I've
Who
been
else would like to
cleaning
give
out
us
my
one?
office lately.
Allison.
Yes, I've been cleaning up my office lately, and I stumbled on a conference that I helped organize a long time ago, and the conference name was Beyond the City Lights. And Beyond the City Lights gives you a feel of that you're still somewhere, but you can get close to the important things, but you're enjoying the life outside the city lights. So that sort of hit home to me when I was looking through it.
Okay. Who else wants to give us one? Got some silent folks here. Yep, Tom?
Well, welcome to Thames Center, where we're the doorstep of Southwestern Ontario. And we're right beside the crown jewel of the Great Lakes, which is London. We have small town charms with urban amenities and significant endowments of agricultural and environmental assets.
Excellent. Thank you. Paul?
Yeah, I've kind of come up with the Thames Center where community becomes family. Being lived here all my life, I know a lot of the community, a lot of the families that, you know, in the big cities, you don't necessarily know your neighbors. In no matter whether you're in the north or the south of Thames Center, everyone knows everyone. And it's a great place to come and bring your family and raise them in a rural atmosphere, but you still have all the amenities of the big city next door.
Thank you. Excellent. Anyone else? One more, if we can get somebody else. How about Kelly? Oh, so Tina just raised her hand down there. Go for it.
Okay, so it's more of a word, I guess. I think of connected. We're connected to major transportation, the 401, the rail. We're connected to nature. We have many trails. We're connected to current community and former communities, North Dorchester, West Missouri. We have small town connection. And connected and thriving is what I think of.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you. All right. So is there anyone else that wants to do one? Give us this. All right. Seeing none. Okay, Kelly.
I'll jump in.
Kelly's jump in. All right, there we go.
So I actually posted on social media the other day, just for residents to kind of give their ideas on what if they could come up with a slogan and or a pitch. And one that I really liked was just Thames Center, welcome home. And I think I really enjoyed that one. I mean, I've called Thorndale my home my entire life. But I think for people just moving here too, it really is, and Mike touched on it too, we really do have a community where it does feel like home, whether you've lived here your entire life or you've just moved here. Everybody kind of welcomes everybody in with open arms. So I really enjoyed that one, just that home feeling of what we have here.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Nancy's furiously typing all of these ideas and slogans and things that you and others have come up with. But I think that's a good start. So what I'm going to do is now going to move on to the 2 words. All right. So each of you, if you have a piece of paper, because we can't use the chat function here, normally we would just zip it into the chat function, but because we can't do that, I'm going to ask you to do it the old-fashioned way, and that is to write 2 words. So from what you've heard from all of the things that people have talked about and what you know about your community, looking for the feeling, the essence, the heart. What are the things that in 2 words describe what you think of Thames Center? So write it down, and we're going to go through the entire group and have you hold it up so that we can see it to the screen. This is rather than doing it on a chat function. So grab a piece of paper, write it large enough that we can read it, please. And I'm going to give you 20 seconds starting now. Go. Okay, that's 20 seconds. That's your time. All right. Now, the reason we do this is so that you don't overthink it. This is not something that we're going to, I don't want lots of thought. I want the initial feeling of what it is that you're trying to get across, your first thoughts on that. So starting with, let's start with Allison. what were the 2 words that you wrote down, Allison? And by the way,
Well,
you can,
I must
hang on a second
admit.
before you go, Allison.
Yeah.
Before you go, what I'm going to say to the rest of you is that if you have other things that have are triggered by some of the words that other people are using, you can write them down and add them to your list. So come up with 2 or 3 or 4, but we're going to start with Allison and your first one. Go.
All right.
Go
I
ahead.
must admit, Nancy, your analogy of driving down the road, I went off the road and was in the ditch for a little while, and then I had to steer back up. So, so I had to go back to another one that I had thought about a long time ago to be perfectly above board. So, because I had written a step above. Step above. Can't see it on there, but
Step above.
step
Okay.
above.
Allison, can you give me some context? What were you thinking when you said when you wrote step above?
Okay. I was actually at first
I think
was
we have
like,
2 people in the, you guys must be close because you're
Oh, yeah.
seeing or something. Something's going on there. Yeah.
You know, I think a step above portrays the idea that, you know, the quality of life is better here. That, you know, for someone that may be battling downtown traffic, they're going to realize that there's no traffic. For someone that may have trouble finding things in a store, there's lots of stores. For someone who wants to see beautiful countryside, they just have to drive around. If somebody wants a new home, there's new homes. So, you know, a step above what you're used to is what we're working towards.
Okay. All right. Next, let's go to Kelly. Seeing as you were laughing too, so you were apparently distracted by the same thing.
You know what? I just stuck with the welcome home. That really resonated with me when one of our residents, Adam, had written that. I think it resonates really well with me. So I am just sticking with welcome home.
Okay. And so tell me why it resonates.
Well, I think for me, it's been my home my entire life. I was born and raised here. Now I'm raising my family here. And then even, you know, I've had friends that have moved here in the last, you know, 1 to 10 years, and they've really made this their home. And so I think that just resonates with everybody here, is that once you come here, it does feel like home, and the community really welcomes you here and is always really helpful. And so I think whether you're opening up a business, whether you're moving here, or whether you're just coming to visit, you get that sense of home.
Okay. Thank you. Steve.
I went with welcoming and active, kind of to mirror what Kelly said. It just always, it is a very friendly community, and you feel at home when you come to Thames Centre. And on the active side, just there's lots going on, even maybe not quite as much with the pandemic, but normally Thames Centre has a lot going on between community events and just active sports. Municipality and the schools are active, the community members are active and volunteer and take part in a lot of stuff.
What are some of the premier community events for non-COVID times or COVID during COVID times?
During non-COVID, there's the Bridge Fest, there's a big Canada Day, there's the lighting of the lights for Christmas, just to name a few. Okay.
All right. Anything that is totally unique to Thames Centre that does not happen anywhere else in the country or the world or anywhere?
Bridge Fest.
Bridge Fest.
All right.
Yeah.
You want to explain that to me? What is that?
Yeah, Bridge Fest is a festival that we have in September, just before everybody goes back to school. And I say we always have it. We've only had it for 2 years, but it was going really well when we started off. And it unites both sides of Dorchester. So the pedestrian bridge across the river is set up with crafters, artists, musicians, local restaurants. And people are brought down to the river, and I've actually seen people canoe to get to Bridge Fest. So we might have a marine festival with it at some point, but it's just a very unique thing because it's a unique feature of our municipality.
Cool. Sounds awesome. Yeah. All right, Tom, you've got your hand raised.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's unique, and it's also not, in the sense that I think if you go by our budget and our economic development spend, we we're very proud of our agricultural societies. And I think we have two very healthy agricultural societies with two unique histories with the municipality. And I think that that's probably unique to Ontario. And, you know, like the history of John Graves Simcoe and setting up the agriculture societies, and the fact that we have two organizations that are still thriving, you know, 160 plus years later, is a testament to, I think, the underlying community spirit and the things that come from that, right? There's the artisan market that, like, quickly, we talked a lot about recreation and facilities and nature, but arts and culture, the community theater, or all the other events that, again, there's a great artisan market. I think it's run independently of the Agriculture Society in Dorchester, but it's done on their grounds, and they've been really interesting incubators for different community groups.
Great.
And the amount of community groups is really significant, I think, versus other areas.
Okay. So can you go back and give us your 2 words then, while we've got you on screen?
So I had community and healthy. So,
All right, you want to expand on those?
well, again, I think, like, I probably touched upon the community side of things, and like picking up on Paul's comments, and even, you know, just the difference between a house and a home is that level of connection and comfort. And then healthy, I thought, kind of unified a lot of the other things that we have discussed through the strategic plan, which, you know, we're very focused on providing a safe environment from like a road safety, policing standpoint, healthy active living through parks and recreation. And then when we think about the environmental and agricultural ecosystems that I think all of our residents and those who care for those those landscapes, they want them to be healthy. So I think that's one way that you can have that balance between rural and urban, is that everybody ultimately is focused on their personal and community health in a number of different ways.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. That's great. All right, Ken.
I've been a long time resident like Paul, probably got him by a few years, but well, I went to school in Dorchester and I've lived in Thorndale all my life. And I'll admit that maybe my comments or my thoughts Thorndale wise might be a little biased, but the first word that comes to mind is safe. And I look at where Thorndale was, where it is today. We have safe drinking water. We have a wastewater system, which I thought we would never see. Safe roads, safe emergency services, which is a little bit biased. So I like the word safe. And the second word is vibrant, but I don't like vibrant, I like energy. And I think the reason that when you look at the way Thames Center has grown, it's the energy of, I don't know, just a little maybe shot in the arm, but I think it's councils and the staff. If they've got the energy and the focus to make our community safe and full of energy, then they're just going to grow, and people will want to. I look at Thorndale, and Linda and I walk lots, and I look at the people that have come here, and I say to myself, why are they coming here? They can't even fill their car with gas, and you can't buy a Tim Hortons, but they still come here. Beautiful people. And the more you walk and the more you say hi to them, it just gives you that sense of pride. There's another word. So that's my spiel.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, Paul. Need to unmute there.
There we go.
There
We
you
got
go.
it.
Thank you.
My 2 words are all together. The all being We've got all the amenities that you would ever want. We've got beautiful recreation facilities, brand new rec center in Thorndale, beautiful trail system to walk through. We have grocery stores here in Dorchester, hopefully soon in Thorndale. And altogether, you have all kinds of family dynamics and community-minded people that want to make this work and make it a beautiful place to live. So that's my
All right.
thoughts.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Kim?
Hi there, thanks. So my 2 words were home and connected. I also grew up in a small town, but don't live in Thames Center. But I think when you come into Thames Center, it does feel like you're coming home, welcoming, friendly. You just kind of get that comfort feeling when you come to Thames Center. And then I liked Tina's take on the word connected, because I think we're really connected here to our neighbors, to our family, to our community, agriculture, nature, businesses, our neighboring municipalities. So those are kind of my thoughts.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, Jared?
Okay, my 2 words were resource rich. It's backwards. By that I don't mean like, aggregate or, lumber or whatnot. It's richness and a lot of what the other everyone else has said too. We have the trails, we have woodlots, we have the mill pond, the Thames River. Someone mentioned that too. We have 2 branches, 2 separate branches of the Thames River cutting through Thames Center. We're rich in agriculture, especially strawberries. Rich in aggregate. We have 2 fall fairs. We have light industry. We have industry, but it's light enough that it's not a major pollutant, I guess. We have community groups. We have the 401 corridor, which attracts residents and business. And then I just stole that from the last year, but recreational facilities. We're resource tight, and I didn't think that sounded good. So we're resource rich. Those are my 2 words.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Mike?
I'm just really glad that Jared just didn't say Camaro and Corvette in his 2 words and, and leave it at that. I started off with, I don't know if you can see this or not, thriving and peaceful, which to me was a little bit contradictory. But at the same time, I moved to my word growing because I listened to Tom and his comments and a couple of the others and statements. So I'm sticking with my growing, and I've used Paul's second word, together. So I'm back to growing together. But I think those are my 2 + 2 words.
Thank you. Mark?
Good morning.
Hey there.
Well, this is my rendition.
Complete community.
A complete community. So when I think of Thames Center, I think of a self-sufficient community with housing opportunities, existing businesses, if it being commercial or industrial development, recreational opportunities with the many assets that we have, including the Thames River, all of our recreational facilities, also our various schools, both primary and secondary. That's the first thing that comes to mind for me.
Excellent. Thank you. That's great. Tina?
So I have 3 words, connected, home, and together. I think of we're on the way. We're close to everything. We've got it all here. We have a lot to offer. And I think of look no further because we have everything we need here.
Thank you. is Alan and are Alan and Sarah participating in this? They don't have video up.
They're managing the meeting and taking minutes behind the scenes. But
they can,
if
if
they
they've got,
can,
yeah, if they've got 2 words, let them have it.
Absolutely. There he is.
Usually I'm behind the camera. Community and home, especially home. It's the first thing I said to the newspaper when I got here within a month. It feels like where you're supposed to be.
Okay. Thank you. That's awesome, Alan. Sarah?
I really like the aspect of welcome home as well. I grew up in Dorchester, so it was nice to come back and work here again. It felt like I was coming home for sure.
Great. Thank you. All right. So what I'm going to ask you to do is same exercise from a different viewpoint. All right. I want you to have a look at this and pretend that you do not live here. So pretend that you are somebody that is maybe driving along the 401 and they see something. What is going to attract them to the community? If you were looking at it from a different aspect, from a different point of view, from somebody outside of the community, what would appeal to them? So we'll give you another 20 seconds starting now.
Allison, I might coach you that going into the ditch is not a really good.
No, I rose above it. I held both hands on the steering wheel and gripped tightly, and I forged on.
I have to hope you went into the ditch because you were lost in the enthusiasm of the music. I'm going to roll with that.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. So that's well more than 20 seconds.
All right, so I have one I'll save a lot of people that are still struggling. Lots to discover. I know it's 3 words, but lots to discover.
Expand on that.
Well, if I was driving, I was just thinking about what I would be doing if I was driving here. I would probably come down past A&W on the Petro-Can. I would have stopped and got my gas and my burger, and then I would have driven in and went, oh, look at that nice cemetery. Look at that nice community center. Look at the way that it turns over here, and look at this and look at that. So there's lots to discover.
Excellent. Thank you for that. All right, Kelly.
This one was tough. I struggled with this one, but I think like coming in on the 401, it would just be the scenery, like beautiful and the farmland. That's kind of where I would, not knowing where it was from and coming in, just it would be the focus on the scenery and the landscape.
Okay, thank you. Excellent. Tom?
So yeah, somewhat similar. I had farms and small towns. So I was a little bit less generous with an external perspective, but I know that most of the people I know from London, if I drive them around, they're it's kind of, well, that's a soybean and that's a corn plant, and that's kind of about as far as we get. I know there are a lot of farms, and I enjoy looking at them like reading a book, each one. But I do think it can be a lot for people to digest from the start. And again, like, you know, I'm proud of our small town, and we know small towns, we know they're growing a lot, but I think that you know, it's something that usually I get to explain to people where Thorndale is, and usually it's in relation to Dorchester, in relation to the 401. So I think those are things that are desirable characteristics, but again, small but mighty is not a bad thing.
Excellent. All right, thank you. Steve?
The top words that spring to mind for me for this are beauty or nature, just all the natural elements of Thames Center. And then along with that are the amenities, some that are outside, taking advantage of the nature and the beautiful scenery we have, as well as all the other facilities and buildings that we offer to the community.
Thank you. Excellent. Ken?
The first word was come to me quickly, and that's facilities. kind of feeding off what Steve said. And the second word I'm struggling with, I thought of financial, innovation. I don't have a good second word. I keep changing my mind.
That's fine. If you think of it, put your hand up.
Like, I know when you do, I'm like Allison, I didn't go in the ditch, but when you drive the roads, I'll call it nature that's around us is pretty spectacular. Even the strawberry patches look good. So
Thank you, Ken. Paul.
I came up with what a gem. You drive off the 401 or drive along the 401, you see the agricultural areas on both sides. You pull off, you come in Dorchester Road, you immediately drive by the beautiful facilities that we have, and the park and all that just together. And with the new development going on, you see what the community is vibrant and growing, and there is still the older part of town too. So it's a beautiful gem that you just would normally just drive by on the 401, not even know existed.
Thank you. All right, Kim.
So prior to working here, what kind of drew me into Thames Center is both nature and amenities. I'm thinking of the golf course, of course, as we've talked about, the strawberries that kind of bring everybody into our community, the recreational facilities that we all have visited as outsiders to Thames Center. Just kind of thinking of kind of those, the tourism directional signage that points us to those, those small little spots that we can visit. I often visited Thorndale because there was a quaint tea room right on the main street. So it was just kind of that sense of that small town sense that kind of drew me into the community.
Thank you, Kim. Jared?
Okay. I had it wrote down before Tom said anything, but it's hidden gem, or not Tom, sorry, Paul. I feel the same way. If you look in Google Earth and you look at Dorchester, even Thorndale, you go, oh, the first thing is, well, it's bedroom communities for, the city of London. I mean, you just pass right by it. If you drive through it, it's more than a bedroom community. Like say, we have all this, like I said, well, I'm going to go back to Hemans and that. You have that. You have the Mill Pond. I mean, it's so much more than just a cookie cutter bedroom town for the city of London. That's why I think you got to drive through it. And then I think that, like, again, with what Paul said too, it's a hidden gem. I mean, you're going to miss it if you're just looking on Google Earth.
Excellent.
Jared, I was looking at my other screen when you flashed your sign. Did you say hidden gem, or what were your two words?
Yeah, I use hidden gems because it's not so much like you guys mentioned Dorchester. I think Dorchester and Thorndale are, the villages are both, are both unique in their own aspect. That's why I put hidden gems.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mike.
Well, I think Kim's looking over my shoulder at my paper, and because I had scenic and inviting, and when I reference that, I think a Councillor Hemans reference to you drive along and you see soybeans and you see corn stalks, and then usually I'm behind that person yelling, "Just drive, will you?" But anyway, the amenities that we have to offer, I'd written down, and I think the amenities, when I'm referencing that, I'm hearing a lot of facilities. So I added that to my list, and not only was I thinking that, but I was thinking the amenities that the city doesn't offer. So there's a lot that we have, and there's a lot of things that you can get in Thames Center that you can't get from a amenity standpoint, let alone a service standpoint. And I think that's those were two important things to message. I kind of branched off, not just coming down the 401, but I looked at it from coming in from all angles. And I think that the signage factor, and I know Kim referenced the signage piece, to get you to these places was an important item as well.
Terrific. Thanks, Mike. Mark?
So I'm going to give you my literal interpretation of driving along Canada's busiest highway through Thames Center. And of course, we've got 4 interchanges that would draw any passerby into the municipality. And on those directional signage is provided along that way. We've got opportunities to go to Putnam, to Dorchester, and to Nilestown. And what that brings to mind is small town feel.
Okay.
So that's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of what you laid out for us, Steve.
Thank you. I like that a lot. Thank you. Tina.
I had written down nature and scenery to branch off of the other things I heard, and small towns.
Okay. Thank you. Alan, out from behind the camera.
So I'm hearing a lot of things around here. When I think about it from coming in, it was discovering your new nostalgia. So discovery and nostalgia.
Okay. Can you explain on before you turn your
Yeah. So like I mentioned before, where when I got here, I felt like I was home. It was familiar, but it was new. It's like it's every small town that you want it to be. So it's just nostalgic when I think of it.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. And Sarah.
I came up with curbside appeal, but for like a whole community. I think it's really established, like environmentally, but also the scenery is really clean and inviting, whether it be the buildings or nature itself.
Terrific. Thank you. All right. Anybody, now that we've gone through all of them, anybody have any other observations that they wanted to add in? Some of the ones that went early. Tom, go ahead. You're still muted there, pal.
I'd just like to build on Alan's comment. Like, I do think it's unique that we in both towns we have murals or blown up pictures of trains, right? And it kind of harkens back to how all of Canada was built through the railway, and how a lot of these small towns were created to be, in some ways rail hubs for agricultural commodities. And one of the other things I always think of, it's maybe I'm a little old fashioned, is how Dorchester was like a really cool part of the tobacco belt, and how it, there was a diverse and pretty, you can say what you want about tobacco now, but it was a pretty progressive crop to produce. It required a lot of organization and hard work, and that's you don't see those tobacco kilns south of Dorchester anymore, but it is kind of a unique thing that you can see it in certain areas. And I think that's why Dorchester grew very well, because that's something that creates a prosperous community, is tobacco, and unfortunately, and it's kind of how it's always been in North America. But yeah, it does give us a pretty strong foundation. And likewise, I think we really undervalue Fanshawe Lake Conservation Area, partially because it's shared with the City of London, but that's just as much an asset as the mill pond is. And I think as we look at growing and expanding our official plan, that I think that may become, a little bit more a part of our community than it is. It's still, you can, it's just an extra, minute or 2 minute drive, or 5 minute bike ride from Thornhill, but it is a huge part of the environmental makeup of that area, and it is a unique parallel to Dorchester as well.
Excellent. Thank you. Anyone else have anything else to add? All right. So from our point of view, branding is, our company actually calls it bonding, because branding is kind of like, doing it into the hide. And we feel that more people are associated with bonding. We like to try to get people to come together and understand the heart or the culture of the community in some way. or the culture and the makeup, the brand, the feeling of what that company is trying to get across. So, so much of what you've talked about today are core values of your community, and this is a roundabout way to come to some realization of what the core values are. And I've certainly seen a very, very strong line towards the core values and what you guys think of and believe your community to be. And so Nancy and I are going to take this discussion, and we're going to move on and work on some stuff. And I thank you very, very much for participating in this today. It's tremendous. You're obviously all extremely proud of the community, and that shows through. It shines like the sun that always shines on Thames Center. Thanks, Allison, for that. But I think it's really important that you realize that from somebody looking in, you guys have a lot of love for your community, and it just shines through, and I thank you very much for that. So, Nancy, any summary, any things that you want to?
What I'd like to propose, because you all put so much work into building your strategic plan, and I think as part of your package, you got a one-page summary, just kind of highlighting, refreshing your memories about the vision, mission, core values, and pillars. If you have that right handy, can you do me a favor and just skim through that to refresh your memories and to think, have we talked about everything that aligns with that? What words on that page inspire you? And from Steve's perspective, whether that be as a community leader now, or if you were an outsider driving through, when you look at that piece of paper, because you've put so much work into it, we want to make sure that whatever Steve and I come up with for a suggestion for you, that it aligns well. So anybody want to take a shot at anything that you feel we haven't addressed or included, or that you forgot about, or get you excited? Allison, if you are you talking on mute there, if you want to give it a shot?
Well, yes. Well, it's funny because Kelly and I are we are socially distancing, but we are in the same room together, and we've gone through a few of these different strategic plans together with the county this year, and obviously us through this exercise. And I don't know, I have this hate for the word vibrant. I can't deal with it, and it just seems so. There's lots of things that come to my mind, and none of them good. So that's what I was saying, and I know that's a real downer thing to say, but I struggle with it.
Well, that's important feedback to have, because boy, wouldn't it be a bad thing if feedback, and that was the key word. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, no. It's just I can't live with it.
It's a vibrant day with the sun out where the sun.
Well,
So that's a really good point to Allison's comment. Are there any things that just grate you? So either ones that you think we've missed that we need to make sure we capture the sense and feeling of, or ones that you're like, not in a slogan, not on a sign. Kim, I saw your hand wave earlier and I kind of missed you. I'm sorry.
Sorry, that's okay. I'm just thinking, if we're actually thinking of linking it to the strategic plan, I really like the growing together, because you can kind of transition that to growing up in Thames Centre, growing old in Thames Centre, growing connections, growing communities, growing family, growing relationships, growing agriculture, growing your business. Like, I think it kind of connects very well with the strategic plan, like growing infrastructure, growing opportunities in general.
Thank you for that.
I would agree with Kim too, but the more that one fits.
Kelly, I'm having a hard time hearing you there. I'm not sure.
I was just going to say, I like the growing together. The more that kind of sits with me and the more I think about it, I really like it. And I was going to say, even before Kim said that, just the word together, I think encaptures a lot of what we talked about today. So that, yeah, that growing together, the more it sits with me, the more I like it.
Thank you. Anybody else have any thoughts? And I'm not suggesting that we have to use words right from your strat plan. It's just, I think you've put so much effort and thought into that it would be unfortunate if we went the opposite direction. So just to trigger some thoughts and some feelings on anything that you see on that one-page summary, or everybody feels we've got it all captured. Jared, you're squirming a bit. You got any ideas down there?
He's just squirming. I think to hinge off of Kim's comment and yours as well, Nancy, is the strategic plan and the mission statement, the vision statement we've got for every stage of your life. And I think that growing together is a thing that we can hinge off of that, if that fits, and referencing back. And that, and the fact that I'll note again that I had growing together.
Not that he's strong arming this or anything.
Not at all.
No. And I would have to agree. I mean, the word growing together could be somebody in the senior center growing old together. It could be somebody over in the JK meeting each other and going through school together. It could be, building homes together. There's so many possibilities with those two words that I really do. If I had like some beans to vote right now, I'd put all my beans in that pot, even though I didn't think of it.
I think, and maybe, sorry, just a sec, Kelly, I'll be right there. I rely heavily on the expertise, and I'm certainly not going to age Steve, but the depth of expertise that Steve has, that it's a strong feeling that it's best that we don't write something quickly and as a group. So I trust that you all will be patient. We won't take long, I'm sure, because as Steve said, there's so much passion in this room, but to take all of the feedback and the energy you've given us, for us to mull it over and come back to you with a suggestion. So sorry, we're not giving you beans today, Allison. Perhaps strawberries, but not beans. But that time will come, and you can at that point decide as a group how you want to move forward. Which stakeholders do you want to include, or if this is the team, on how you decide what to do with that. So that will be back to this group for you to decide internally. So Kelly, I'm sorry, your thoughts?
Yeah, sorry. And I just want to tie into that. I think it's important, and I like this working together, or growing together, because I think it ties in both the urbanization and the growing of the communities, but it also ties in our rural communities and our agricultural industry, which I think is so important. So I think when we can tie those two together, where we make one community, whether you live in one of our growing villages or whether you live on a farm in our rural areas, it combines it all together.
Thank you. That's great. Anybody else have any last comments before we? Tom, you have your hand up in the air?
Yeah, I'm just looking at all the core values, and I think that I think we have really addressed them all in these discussions, and there's definitely some overlap in the core values. And I think when we talked at the beginning of this exercise on who is this for, I think that we did a good job in the core values and making sure that those are, they do represent a resident, staff, council. And I think the big part that stands out is that, it's all about relationships. And again, how do you want to be treated in a relationship? And that's the relationship of a resident with the corporation, with council. And that's a human factor. And I think that when we have I won't use this word again, but when we have a vibrant community, it's because the people are treating each other as people, and they have that appreciation for the person on the other side of the conversation. And so I won't spike the Kool-Aid any more than that, but I know that in my research on relationships, that it's a conscious choice to work together, and that's something that when we talk about conflict resolution, it's about turning away, turning in and turning towards. And I think that that whole growing together item, that's you either grow together, you grow apart. That's a conscious choice in every relationship. And I think that that's echoed throughout our core values and some of the different themes in today's discussion.
Hey, Steve, don't you want to move to Thames Center now?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Forget the drive-by on the 401. I'm coming in.
Yeah. I'm going to do it by foot, though. I want to see this community by foot. I think that's the way to explore all of the best places of it.
We do have a bus too, just so you know.
Thank you.
So we're a little bit ahead of schedule, but I feel that we have got lots of ideas and thoughts from everybody. I hope everybody's had a chance to say their piece. This will be a final opportunity. Ken, if you have lots more words you want to share, now's your chance, or anybody else for that matter. Final opportunity to share any ideas, thoughts, considerations that you feel are important for Steve and I to keep in mind. Again, as far as the next steps, we will come back to you with a summary of what we've heard and a suggestion on what we think would be your top choice. You will then, as a group, decide how you want to handle that, what you want to do with it, and if you can either love it, hate it, want to massage it. But if you hate it, then Steve and I need to go back and come up with our option B. So don't feel that if we come back to you with something that you go, vibrant, I can't believe they used that word, you just send it back to us. But our hope is that we'll come with something that will inspire and intrigue and unite. I'm really hearing a lot of uniting the group and how important it is to feel home and at a community and growing together. Look at that, I'm using the word already. So last call, does anybody have any final thoughts? Nobody's asleep, I don't think. This is a good sign. Then I'm going to hand it back to Allison and thank everybody for their time and their creative thought. And I'm excited to see what comes of this. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Great to meet everybody. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for all your hard work, Nancy and Steve. And we'll look forward to touching base with you again in the future and coming back to what we've got. It's just, again, I know that it's a little bit of time out of all of our day and to be able to do this, but I think it's just so nice to see everybody and to be able to discuss things and throw ideas around. I mean, what a treat it is when we've all been so isolated and not be able to deal with these things. So I want to thank everyone that took the time out to join us today, because I really do feel a little bit better about seeing everyone. You know, it's been a nice experience and we need more of those. So thanks again. I do have a bylaw that I have to deal with formally, or the clerk will fire me, and that would be bylaw 37/2021 being a confirmatory bylaw and being, or I got two, to be adopted as presented and to being a bylaw. So a mover, please. Deputy Mayor Elliott, and seconded by Councillor Hunter. All in favor? Great, thank you. Passed. And then again, our next meeting, Monday, May 10th at 1 p.m. So
don't forget to adjourn.
I'm coming to, you see what you did to me, right? It's a 2-pager. So I get to the 1 page and then I turn to the 2nd page and all it has on it is adjournment. So just give me time to turn the page. So now looking for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Hunter, seconded by Deputy Mayor Elliott. All in favor? Great.